Hey, welcome to my Carnivore channel. My name is Steve, and tonight I have the blessed opportunity to speak with this woman over here. This is my wife, Teresa, and she's just in the other room across the house. And I had some suggestions and recommended requests that I bring her on so that people kind of get my story from the other point of view, and also so that um, people can get the viewpoint of a female's perspective on the carnivore diet. Hi, Teresa.
Hi, Steve.
How are you?
I'm good.
We had a pretty good day today so far, haven't we?
We did. We did have a really good day. We drove around today and looked at all the fall colors. We live kind of right at the beginning of the mountains a little bit, so we got to see lots and lots of colors today. It was fun.
Yeah, yeah. Started off with a bunch of eggs, went and did that, and then we had what you went off and did the craft
Yep.
fairs.
Yep. Went to some craft fairs and to a couple little specialty shops.
Yeah, I walked around a little bit and got to watch some football, watch the Buckeyes win. So it was a good day.
Yay.
Did not realize that it was Sweetest Day today.
Yeah.
What a bad husband am I? Like, but uh, I got a good gift. Tell them what you got me.
I got my husband a 4-pound bag of beef fat.
How awesome is that?
I thought maybe we could fry it up.
Yeah, that'll be a good snack after this.
Yes.
So, well, Teresa, you've been in the carnivore lifestyle for about 12 months now, and
Well,
spent a few years, 12 weeks. Sorry, whoa, 12 weeks. But you spent a little bit of time outside of the carnivore lifestyle. Um, so, can you tell us what it was like the things that you went through before you started carnivore?
sure. So I have had 20 plus years of pretty deliberate, ugh, pretty horrible pain. Excuse me. The kind of pain that a blanket hurts, uh, where it takes you a good hot minute to stand up from the couch and get all of your muscles going. The kind of pain that is like burning fire in every single joint of my body. Yeah, it's just been 20 years of unanswered questions where blood work comes back normal. Physicians are like, you're too young to have anything chronic. And then later I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia and RA, rheumatoid arthritis. So those two combined are pretty tough to deal with. Like you just kind of have to make yourself because you're just in pain all day long. So, I mean, on a scale, I can't imagine ever being anything less than a 4, and that would be a good day. So, um, yeah, 20 years of just not knowing what's going on and not being able to do much. And like you could see the inflammation in like my ankles and my wrists, and particularly, and um, my hips. I like when they hurt. I like to call them like it's on fire. It's just so uncomfortable. Um, so yeah, that's been a lot of fun for the last 25 years.
So you had ebbs and flows, like peaks and valleys of the pain, peaks being the worst. Um, how
Yeah.
would you describe those? Like, how often did those come? How long did they stay?
Well, if I actually hurt myself, like if I pulled a muscle or I strained something, it would last months and months for anything to be able to heal significantly. But I would say, there was a daily constant pain. And then, I don't know, maybe every 6 weeks or so, or even 4 weeks, there were what I would call a flare where things would just hurt for well over a week, probably a week to 10 days, just depending. And that's the kind of pain where didn't want to go anywhere, didn't want to leave the house, just wanted to sleep. Yeah.
And you had something with your skin too, didn't you?
Oh, yes. I have always had, well, recently in the last 3 or 4 years, really, really itchy skin. My like to the point where I would scratch myself and I would leave bruises on my skin because there would be no relief of the discomfort.
Mm.
So yeah, I kind of walked around like a black and blue mess from scratching myself all the time, just having the worst itchy skin ever.
So how did you come to find the carnivore diet, or how did you learn about the carnivore diet?
Um, so I was at work, and this guy right here calls me on the phone at work and says, "Hey, we're gonna go to the store after work. I want to buy all this meat." And I was like, "Okay." And I said, "Why?" And he's like, "Well, I found this carnivore diet, and um, it's basically that you would eat meat and bacon, butter, and eggs." Was how you described it to me.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay. And also really not wanting to do it at all. Like super confused, didn't understand how meat could be the answer to anything. Like my brain automatically just goes to like a plant-based diet that, and I kind of also just don't like meat. Like we would go to the grocery store and I would fill the cart up from the produce section. And then, so I was asking him a lot of questions like, all right, well, what vegetables can I eat? And the answer is none. And I'm like, but that doesn't make any sense. So anyway, that's how I heard about it. And then he did introduce some videos to me, like uh, some of the things that Jordan Peterson
Mhm.
and his daughter. Um, we watched some of those videos just so I could kind of understand and learn that people don't only do carnivore to lose weight, but to also just take care of autoimmune, which is the biggest reason why yes, I need to shed some pounds, but autoimmune was definitely my number one priority, and um, just giving this a shot and just to be a good support to Steve at Carnivore.
So so you got that phone call, and we went to the store and we packed up our our basket with all of the things.
Yes.
Um, so tell me about that first week. Like, what did you go through? What was it like? From like, I don't know, that very first day. I think it was a Saturday that we actually really started. We
Yeah.
went shopping on Friday and started Saturday.
If I remember, I just made a whole bunch of eggs and bacon for breakfast that day, and I thought, okay, well, so far so good. Um, and the first week for me, I remember being hmm, slightly agitated, and maybe a little bit of like lack of focus and easily forgetful just for the first little while. Um, and but I don't remember having any real strong cravings. Mostly I just wanted different things to drink than water. Like I wanted Kool-Aid or a Diet Coke or whatever. Um, so I struggled with the water thing for a while. Uh, but I don't remember ever being um, super hungry. I mean, I think that we did really well as far as that goes. But oh, and I was also I was sleepy. I wanted to sleep a lot the first week.
And we had situations where we were learning our new, I don't know, feeling of hunger,
Mm.
right?
Yes, yes, we were.
So how do we work through that?
So when we could see each other, maybe a little bit agitated at each other, or having to repeat ourselves over and over, we just kind of looked at each other and just very gently would say, "Hey, honey, I think it's time to eat." It was like our little code of like not really not really knowing that our bodies are hungry, but nourishment without, because we didn't have any of those carb spikes anymore, or like shaking from being hungry or any of that. So yeah, we did have to just gently say, I think it's time to eat.
That was something that we had to learn pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
That not knowing why we were hangry
Right.
or angry, but we were hangry and didn't realize that that's what it was.
Right.
So, how long did it take for you to see that mental fog go away, and the tiredness, or has it?
Honestly, I think. Sorry, the cat's on my table. I would say by the end of the second week, I didn't feel tired anymore. And I remember even now I'm a lot more focused than I was when we first started, or even before. Um, yeah, so I think if you can make it through day 14 and get there and do it, then I think you're going to be just fine.
Yeah, because you run a lab, like what type of lab would you say that?
It's I run a toxicology lab.
Yeah,
I just have a big chemistry analyzer that I do urine drug screens on all day.
so
like,
you're always
like
dealing with multiple things at one time, and
yes.
so those 2 weeks must have been pretty difficult.
It was horrible. I spilled a lot. Yeah,
You
I
what? You
spilled a
spilled a
lot.
lot?
What's that?
You spilled a lot?
I spilled a lot of things, and what I spill is not a good thing to spill. But um, yeah, and I just noticed it was hard to multitask. I could only do one thing at a time. Um, but yeah, just it was a rough first week and a half.
Yeah, yeah. So from that point until now, like, tell us about, like, from week 2 to now, week 12. I mean, it's a big period of time. But like, what are the things that you've seen change? What are the things that are encouragements, scale and non-scale?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you, like, you were pretty good. Like I could tell that you had frustration in the first couple weeks too, but you also like got the flu a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I did not get that. So I don't know if you want to say about what that felt like for you.
Yeah, it was a few days, and I didn't know. We actually pulled out the COVID test, I think, during that time to
Yeah.
see, because I did not know. We haven't got COVID. I thought I was going to be the first one of us, the both of us, to get COVID, but it came back negative, and I
Mhm.
started asking a lot of questions around and asked, like, what is this? How do I get over it? And it seemed like a lot of the answers were, to increase your fat content and increase your salt content, your water content, and also to get moving.
Yes.
And so once I did that, it was pretty quick, and it was over. Um, and I think that maybe about 4 weeks after that, maybe around week 6, I kind of got reintroduced to that again.
Mm,
But it was just real quick. It may be a day and a half tops. But yeah, it wasn't that bad. But when it was happening, it was kind of scary. What
yeah.
is it? What is this lifestyle doing to me?
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's
So,
true.
and I just want to say, thank you for everybody that stopped by and is hanging out with us tonight. If you have any questions at all, go ahead and post them, and we will definitely get to them throughout this visit. So, but yeah. So tell me about what, like, week 2, 3, week 12 has been like for you.
All right. So, um, I don't really have, okay. So the inflammation went down very quickly. I would say by the end of the first month, I found that I had ankles and wrists that I hadn't found in quite some time. Um, and I lost a lot of that inflammation weight like pretty quickly in the first month. Um, the pain is almost gone. I wouldn't say all the way gone. Um, but that real excruciating, like where if I didn't, like, my skin would be super sensitive, like where a sweatshirt or a blanket would just feel like really heavy on my body. That doesn't happen at all anymore. Um, and I can stand and walk and keep going all day long, and the pain is not making me want to stop. Um, I have noticed that if I do too much milk in a day, like milk based products in a day, that I might have um, a little bit of inflammation response and itchy skin again. And that's pretty much gone. Every once in a while, maybe the palm of my hand still itch, but as far as like all of my skin, the itching is almost gone. Let's see. Uh, on a girl area, um, monthly pain is less. Um, the inflammation is less. The the amount and the days are less. So that has been super amazing. Um, let's see. Trying to think what else. Well, so in what 3 months, I've lost 32 pounds, which I feel is a lot for that. But I have noticed the swollen areas in my body are changing, and the like my pants fit better, and I can, you know, bend down and reach my shoes. Oh, and I literally don't have any heartburn. Like that used to just be a huge part of my life, where if I didn't have antacids, like eating them like candy all day, it would just be still that, well, heartburn, acid reflux feeling that's horrible all day. And that went away almost instantly when we started carnivore.
Yeah, yeah. And I have to say too, there's a sleep apnea part to it
Oh,
that
that's right.
that I noticed probably within the first maybe 3 weeks that that you didn't need your sleep apnea machine anymore.
Mm,
Before that, I would have to, every once in a while wake you up and say, "Hey, can you put on your mask?"
right,
Um,
right.
but after week 3, that was almost all but gone. So that is another. I mean, how did you feel about your sleep, like your quality of sleep?
Quality of sleep is so much better because the pain would wake me up and make me roll over like every 15 minutes. There was no quality of sleep at all for however long, over 20 years. Just so uncomfortable all the time. And so I would say, um, I don't know, do I even wake up once or twice now in the night? Like hardly at all.
Yeah,
So
hardly at all.
it does definitely feel like an actual deeper sleep, because also now, like, I have dreams, and I never had dreams before because I don't think I ever really got into that deep sleep. So that's been amazing too. And I just, can I say hi to Luz?
Yeah, Luz.
Hi, Luz.
So Luz is our good friend from Spain. That we kind of we started the program, me, Teresa, and her at the same time. So we jokingly referred to each other as twins, and we look forward to the day that we can actually meet her face to face. We have plans to go play paintball once we meet,
Right.
so that's fun. So what do you say about this, Teresa?
So emotional changes. Yes, during the month. Yes. So um much more, let's just say, stable and a lot less irrational. Um I would tend to get just angry quickly. during that time, or things would be super irritating, steep. I mean, whatever you need to say about my bad attitude, but that was never a good thing for me. Like, never easy to get through. And now it's just not a problem. Like, I just don't know if it's evened out the hormones, or even if it's just like carb balancing, where there's not the spikes and crashes of all of the carb, but I just feel in general a lot less. mm, Maybe anxiety is what I want to call it, like anxiety, or like that, like constant irritation. Like, I don't know. I don't feel quite as impulsive. So I think it's a good thing.
Sure. And I've gotten a lot of requests for you to talk about hormonal type of things for females going through this. Is there anything else other than what you mentioned that?
Yeah. So I'm also 50. so so things happen to your body when you turn 50. I definitely had put on quite a few pounds during like the beginning of perimenopause, and hot flashes were so intense I could not sleep. It was really bad. So um now they're not nearly as close together, and they're a lot less long. So, like today, I had a few. I just turned on the air conditioner in the car. But in the big scheme of things, like, I'm not waking up in the middle of the night drenched with sweat. So that it is amazing. I just try to keep track of every little win and every little um, a success to keep going. I just try to think of those things. And yes, this is this part of going through being 50 has been a lot easier than the beginning. So whatever we're doing is working for so many things that I can't really argue.
Well, yeah, and I remember like you waking up in the middle of the night, even with our AC just blaring and it being freezing in there, and you'd wake up and your shirt would be wet, your pillow would be wet. You'd be like, "Get these things off of me." And now I just know because you kick the blanket off your legs,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then and it's not that big of a deal, at least from what I'm experiencing.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, Luz has another question about any changes in your hair, nails, smell, that sort of thing.
Oh, I haven't really noticed anything with my nails. I have very brittle nails, but this hair today has not been washed in about 8 days. So I'm just kind of noticing that everything on my body in general is becoming more healthy. Like, I don't need to put anything in my hair. I'm not creating extra oil on my body. Um, as far as maybe odor goes, I don't really feel like I'm super grateful that I don't smell like meat. Let me just put it that way. I was a little worried that I was going to smell like the lion house at the zoo,
Yeah.
but I don't. And I haven't had, thank God, I haven't had anybody say anything to me about that. So I'm assuming that my skin has gotten more color to it. I used to just look kind of, I don't know, pasty. What would you say, Steve? Just kind of like
No,
real pale.
absolutely. That's one of the first things I noticed on you is you got your color back.
Yeah.
Like you have a red, beautiful glow to your skin now, where before you were still beautiful, but you're a little more towards the yellow side. But
Yeah.
that's kind of, and I just assumed that was genetics, that you got that from your parents. But
I do have a little story about that, though,
yeah,
of why I was yellow. So we were, I don't know, in the, what, 2010 maybe, Steve and I were vegan for a while, just trying to find out how to get my pain under control. And so I read some book, about doctors don't want you to know this about the vegan diet. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll give it a shot. So we were vegan for quite some time. And thank you. We were vegan for quite some time. And then I went to school to be a lab tech. And we had to check our own hemoglobin in school as part of our class that day. And a normal hemoglobin for a woman would be 13. And you need to have blood transfusions at 7. And my hemoglobin was an 8.2 just from not having any meat heme in my body for however many years. So my teacher was like, you need to go home and eat a steak. And I'm like, no, because I don't eat meat. So that's kind of what introduced us to back to just, standard American diet, at least where we would eat some beef occasionally, but still had a huge aversion to beef. I like chicken and turkey. I like birds and sometimes the occasional pork. But when we started carnivore, Steve's goal really was to just do the beef, bacon, butter, and eggs, right? I mean, that's what you had your heart set on. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did eat some chicken, but a lot of beef because that's, I'm trying to be a good support to you, not like a jerk. So, but now pretty much that's all I eat too. We eat a ribeye or a New York strip. And as soon as I started increasing that beef into my diet is when that yellow, almost, lack of iron went away. So I feel a little pinky.
And really, when we started, I don't know why, but my idea of beef was more like meat. So we'd have quite a bit of chicken, and we'd have quite a bit of pork, especially in the first month, just because I don't think starting off, I don't know if I could just do beef.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. I just was like, okay, I can't go from the whole world of our variety down to no variety, to
Poor
beef.
things.
I was so confused. I'm like, I remember the one time, Steve, I was like, I came home with a cucumber. I was craving vegetables so bad. I went to the grocery store and I got a cucumber and I got home and I ate 4 slices of cucumber. And believe it or not, I have not had a cucumber since then. But it's so weird the things that your body thinks it needs when it doesn't really need it.
So you mentioned your aversion to beef. Tell me how that has changed, if anything, if it's changed at all.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much all I ever want to eat. It's so satisfying. Like we were eating our ribeyes last night. Well, I had New York strip last night, and I just used a little bit of bacon in the frying pan too as the extra fat this time instead of butter. And it was just delicious. And so it's literally all I want now. Occasionally I'll do chicken, pure chicken lunch meat that I can bring to work just because it's easy to keep it in the fridge at work.
So when you go ahead and cook, Luz is asking if you make difficult recipes, you keep them simple?
Nope, super simple. I pretty much we will either grill or pan fry whatever steak that we have. And I'll just maybe pick a different kind of fat to cook it in depending on what flavor. So we have beef tallow and we have butter, and Steve has learned how to make homemade ghee, clarified butter. So we'll use that a lot. And but we have bacon grease, I think, that we sometimes use. And that's literally it. And then we have some different flavors of salt. Excuse me.
Mm.
Like cherry salt, smoked salt, Himalayan salt. We have all the salts
Yeah.
to eat on our beef with whatever kind of fat. I don't even do like hard boiled eggs or anything. Like, no, it's fry it 10 minutes or 7 minutes aside, depending on the thickness, and call it a day.
Yeah.
I might do some runny eggs if we have burgers, like a runny egg on top of a hamburger. But that's about as difficult as we make it around here.
Yeah, it seems like we traded all of our sauces for different salts.
Yeah, we did.
So, all right, let's see
Well,
here.
speaking of it, does everybody know how we like? Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's something that we just recently learned. It was we just went on our first trip, being on the carnivore diet just like a month ago. We went down to South Carolina.
Yes.
That was a little concerning when we did it because we didn't know exactly how we would. Um, can you talk about a little bit of how we went through that week that we were gone?
Yeah,
Because
that was.
we did a couple nights in hotels,
Mhm.
there and back, and then we had an Airbnb with a full kitchen, so that wasn't that big of an issue. But that travel part,
Right. So, we did have. Let me think what we had in our cooler. I packed like ready-made bacon was a big snack for like on the when we were driving. But I did pack a cooler with some hamburger meat and some steaks, and I bought an electric skillet so I could literally just like make our steak while we were in the hotel room.
which I heard is probably not a good idea.
Yeah,
I,
but we did it.
I
We did
don't know
it
why,
anyway.
but I was told by many people, oh, you can't do that. Well,
Well, we did.
yeah,
Oh well, maybe next time we'll learn something new. But we got some beef jerky, and uh, we did have hot dogs on our trip because we were still pretty new. But we had all beef hot dogs and lots of scrambled eggs. I forget what else, but it really wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it was going to be. Like by that point, we were not constantly snacking, so it wasn't that big of a deal to like just get to our location and then eat when we got there. I was surprised. Yes, cheese bites. I love cheese. I'm
yeah,
trying try not to eat too much of cheese.
yeah. So Ryan's my good buddy. Hey, Ryan. So yeah, I mean, he's talking about those. I mean, we make a kind of a version of that, and I'm hoping I can get you to help me film a couple recipe videos, like that ghee, making the homemade ghee, and the these bites, for example. Um,
Well, we just made those actually. Well, we made bites last week. I just took ground beef and bacon and then put them in a muffin tin and then did the scrambled egg, like the raw scrambled eggs over, and then we just baked them, and we had our own little egg bites for the whole week.
yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
Great.
It's a great. We used to go stop through Dunkin' Donuts every morning, and with coffee and something to eat, and that was easy, $25 each time. And now
Gosh.
it's I don't know. I think that $25 lasts us 2 weeks.
Right. Right.
So yeah, that's a positive. A hot plate, a pan, and the small refrigerator in the hotel.
Like
That would be
literally all
ideal.
you need. Sorry. This guy's got it figured out.
Yeah. All right. So how long do you see yourself doing this way of eating?
Well, for me, I think it will be forever. With how much pain and inflammation that I don't have in my body anymore, I can't even imagine trying to introduce things to have to go through that whole process again. Um, yeah, so probably forever. And I'm really okay with that because what we're learning to do now, instead of focusing all of our time on like going out to eat or social events being about what kind of food is there, we're just kind of learning together that there are other ways to occupy your time that don't involve food. So I think that's kind of like our life was so focused around eating, where we're going to eat. Hey, what do you want for dinner? Where are we going to go? The money that we wasted on, going out to eat and feeling terrible, that it's just kind of nice. Like even today, I went to all those craft fairs today just and didn't have to worry about stopping at the gas station to get snacks or a pop or whatever. I just did what I did and I came home and we'll cook dinner in a little while. And it's just nice not to have your whole world focused on your next meal. So,
Yeah, I'd like you to talk about that too, because oh my gosh, I don't ever remember seeing you without a Diet Coke in your hand. And
right.
every time we drive by a McDonald's, I would have to go through the drive-through for that world famous Diet Coke from McDonald's.
Yes.
But when was the last time you had a Diet Coke?
12 weeks ago. Whatever day we started Carnivore, I have not had a Diet Coke, which was okay. That could be why I was also very tired in the beginning and slightly grouchy. I'm sure I was getting off of all the Diet Coke mess. And I'm a huge sugar addict. I mean, I had candy literally in my hand or in my mouth 24 hours a day. Just so to give up, and I haven't had anything like that either.
Yeah,
So yeah, 12, however many weeks we've been doing this.
yeah,
Ooh, prosciutto. Um, I have had it. I have had prosciutto, but I don't think that Steve has. Um, I'm not quite as strict as Steve. So then we can go kind of on that question. Like, I'm not, and I just kind of assume it doesn't hurt your feelings, but I don't know. Like, what do you feel about me? Like, I have chicken in the fridge at work. You've not really ever said anything about it.
well, so for me, it's easier when things are black and white. This is what you can't have, and this is what you can't have. So when something like this comes along, and it's very black and white, um, I can follow it a lot easier than when there's those gray areas, like a lot of different plans that we've tried before. Um,
Mhm.
and it's not my fault that I'm like that. I was raised Methodist, so trust me. Sorry. Um, but no, I mean, I learned pretty quick from the Facebook groups, like the it's the carniv- ca- carnivorous community
Yes.
that Sean White does. That I learned that there are all different types of this style of eating, and so at first I was like, "You're getting a cucumber." Um,
Right.
but then I kind of learned along the way that it's everybody's own lifestyle plan,
Right.
and so introducing things here and there that are, lack of a better term, like part of the spectrum, maybe,
Right.
um, isn't such a bad thing, especially when it helps you stay on track.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's see here. I think I may have missed something here. All right. So Luz asks, what about the rest of the family?
Well, it's just me and Steve.
Yeah.
Occasionally our grown son will come over and he just eats carnivore with us while he's here. I might be nice and go to the store and get him some mashed potatoes or something, but I will only get it on the day that he comes over and we won't have it. I just try to accommodate him a little bit. But we have not, well, we went out to breakfast with your parents the one day at Bob Evans, and there were a lot of questions. Am I allowed to say that?
Absolutely.
They had a lot of questions for us. But we just did our best there, right? We only had the eggs. I had a steak and egg breakfast, and I think you had some bacon. So we just did it carnivore regardless, but we have not really had a big family gathering yet to know how the whole thing is going to be handled.
Yeah. Yeah. And at that point, I mean, I think there was also a concern, like, what do we do for date nights? Like when we want to go out on a date, it's always been
It's always been food.
food, and like the restaurant that we picked was always like the big event.
Yes.
But we
The
learned
more
we
food
learned
that
some
we could
stuff.
eat while we were there, the better.
Yeah. So a lot of times now we end up going to places that have like breakfast all day because that's the easiest thing for us to do. But there have been times that you've gone out with a girlfriend and met up someplace that she doesn't want to do a breakfast in the afternoon.
Right. I just order whatever hunk of meat I can get, and um to me is more like the company that I have visiting my girlfriend for lunch is more important than the price of the steak I have on my plate. It's fine. But I don't do that very often. We don't really, do we? I don't remember. Well, we went out for breakfast on vacation.
Yeah, yeah, we did a couple times. So, well, what about work? How has this affected you at work? Do you get people? Do people know? Do you get pushback? What's the reception like?
Um, no, some of my coworkers, oh my gosh, home bakery, I would die. Yeah, I would not have self-control in that situation. But so my biggest weakness, sugar. Um, so some of my coworkers noticed like my weight loss and was like, "What are you doing?" And so now everybody, all of my coworkers know that I only eat meat. Um, and I tease my one friend in particular because she's been wanting to do something too, and I keep saying, "Well, when are you going to eat meat?" And so so far so good. I did walk through work Friday, and about four other coworkers in the different buildings all offered me snacks, and I had to say no. I just politely declined. But like, oh, here, you want a cupcake? And then they would remember, like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, it's really not a problem. I appreciate you asking, but no, thank you. You just, I don't know. So just society wise, we're so wrapped around food. You do just kind of have to learn how to say, I appreciate it, but no, thank you.
But even when we started, it's not like you had a huge amount of weight to lose like I did. And
Yeah.
but as you're losing weight and things are fitting, your boss had something interesting to say.
Oh, she told me she told me I needed to buy new scrubs because the ones that I'm wearing right now are looking sloppy. Is what she told me. Yeah, so I was like, well, maybe I do need to. So in 3 months, I mean, it's clearly noticeable that my work clothes are too big now.
What a great reason to get new scrubs.
What's that?
What a great reason to get new
Right.
scrubs.
Right.
Oh my gosh. So, all right. So we had a certain amount, like a certain set of motivation that we had going into this. Have you found that your motivation has changed at all over this 12 months?
12 weeks.
12 weeks, sorry. Oh my gosh.
Um, okay, so my biggest motivation for doing carnivore, honestly, Steve, was you. Like, I knew that it was one of your last ditch efforts of like, I have to try this. I have to try it. And I'm like, well, okay, I'll do it with you. Um, but now that like I'm seeing the difference of like how my whole body function and how my whole body feels, that's really pretty much all the motivation I really need. Like just feeling better is so amazing compared to before. And then I'm just seeing like the changes that you're having, and then with your weight loss and your clothes getting too big and you feeling better, like I don't know. It makes sense now that it's the right thing to do.
Sure. Sure. Well, if there's anybody that watches this either on the live or on the replay, that has like doubts or questions whether they should do it, what would you recommend, based on your experience? Like in starting, like if you were to have known what you know now back then, what would you have done differently or anything at all?
I would not have, okay, if I had to start over, I would not have left dairy in my diet. I maybe would have just stuck with the variety of different meats and fats, pork, chicken, fish, whatever. But I would have cut dairy completely out. I have one more area in my life where I have dairy, and I put heavy whipping cream in my coffee, and I'm trying to figure out how to get that little bit out too. I'm not sure that, I think maybe milk is just not really a healthy thing to do anyway. I'm not really sure. So I'm kind of working on that, but like I would just give it a pretty good effort and say, like, if you can make it 30 days of just eating meat and fat, um, you will see physical and like emotional changes just in that 30 days. Like, and if it doesn't work, then I mean, whatever. But in 30 days, it really did make a big difference for us. So I was like, okay, let's just keep going.
Yep.
And then, more and more we watch other people on YouTube for just encouragement. And I think the carnivore community is pretty darn nice people. So it's been fun.
Yeah, I mean, when we traveled down to South Carolina, it was for the Carnivore Quest meetup,
Yeah.
and so we got to meet a lot of people, that are part of the lifestyle. And we met Carnivore Kip, and we met Larry, and Cassie, and we met Sean and Beth, and that was just amazing. I think that, um, putting a live face to the chat, um, was very encouraging,
Yeah.
and help us to see that it's just not somebody behind a screen that is saying good things, but they're actually they're really good-hearted people.
Hmm. Yeah, I think so too. Well, it's just been good to watch. Good to watch, like, and just learn. And I've had a good time with it so far.
Yeah. So, is there anything else? We're at about we're coming up to about 50 minutes, and that's about the
Nice.
time I thought we should go. But I had a lot of fun doing this, and
I did
I hope
too.
that everybody here has that stopped by has enjoyed our time and learning a little bit about Teresa, and the other side of my journey, and kind of how we're doing it, as getting through it as a couple. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, this for me, I know that this is a total life
Yeah.
change, and I don't expect to, even when I get down to my ideal weight, whenever that will be. I think I love that, that there's a great example, and so many people like Shaun White, where he's got down to his ideal weight, and he just keeps going along with it,
Yeah.
and keeps reaping benefits from it. And I can't wait to get to that point. So
We were kind of joking today, just like, why would you stop doing something that's working so well?
yeah,
Nice to meet you too. Bam, bam. I love it. I'm so glad this ended up being way more fun than I thought it would be. Honestly, it's been great. So I'm gonna
so
probably cook us. I'm gonna try to cook us some fat trimmings in the air fryer tonight. Well,
okay.
Steve will let you know how all that turns out. And yeah, thank you.
Did you have enough fun that we might be able to do this again?
Sure.
Hey, all right. Success. I win.
You win.
So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks for supporting me, and I love the comments you guys give me.
Yes.
It's just I probably spent a good 45 minutes to an hour every night just responding to everybody's comments. I just get so much joy and happiness and encouragement and inspiration from it. So love you all, guys. Thanks for stopping by my Carnivore channel. I'm Steve, and that's Teresa, and we will talk to you later.
Bye.